The gray clouds hung low over Beverly Hills that afternoon, casting a heavy shadow over the Baker family home. The air smelled faintly of rain, mingling with the fragrance of white lilies that lined the church altar. Olivia Baker sat in the front pew, her black dress stiff against her skin, her hands trembling as she clutched the folded American flag that had been handed to her moments earlier. Her husband, Jordan Baker, the love of her life, had been lowered into the ground only hours ago, and already the world felt foreign without him. Family and friends filled the room. Laura, Grace, Spencer, Coop, Dylan, and even Layla Keating, who had sat quietly in the back, her face unreadable. Olivia had hardly noticed her presence. She was too focused on holding herself together, too consumed by the grief pressing on her chest like a weight she couldn't lift. That evening, when the service ended and the mourners drifted away, Olivia returned home. The house felt eerily still, the kind of silence that screamed louder than any words. Every corner held a memory. Jordan laughing as he cooked dinner, his voice echoing through the hallway as he teased her about stealing his hoodies, the soft sound of his footsteps late at night when he couldn't sleep. Now, all that was left was absence. Olivia barely had time to exhale when headlights appeared outside. A car door slammed, sharp against the quiet, and moments later, Layla Keating stood at the doorstep. She was dressed not in morning black, but in a fitted beige coat, hair neatly styled, suitcase rolling behind her. Olivia blinked in disbelief. "Layla, what are you?" Before she could finish, Layla's voice cut through the air, cold and steady. "This house is mine. Get out." The words hit Olivia like a blow. She stumbled back a step, her fingers tightening on the doorframe for balance. "Excuse me?" she whispered, her voice hoarse. Surely she'd misheard. Surely grief had twisted the meaning of Layla's words. But Layla's expression didn't falter. "I have every right to be here. Jordan left this house to me." Olivia's stomach dropped. The suitcase, the confidence in Layla's tone, it wasn't a cruel joke, wasn't a misunderstanding. It was a claim. Tears stung Olivia's eyes, but anger began to simmer beneath the grief. She had buried her husband only hours ago. The dirt on his grave was still fresh, and now his own sister-in-law was standing in their doorway, declaring war. "Layla," Olivia managed, her voice shaking between heartbreak and fury. "How dare you?" Layla only adjusted her coat, stepping across the threshold like she belonged there. "You'll see soon enough. I'm not here to fight you, Olivia. I'm here to take what's mine." For the first time since Jordan's death, Olivia felt her sorrow harden into something sharper. Fear, suspicion, and the faint, rising spark of defiance. Morning sunlight streamed faintly through the curtains of the Baker home, though it brought Olivia no comfort. She sat at the kitchen table, hands wrapped around a mug of untouched coffee gone cold. Sleep had eluded her, replaced by Layla's voice replaying in her mind like a cruel recording. "This house is mine. Get out." The sound of footsteps echoed down the hallway. Layla entered the kitchen with the same unbothered confidence she had displayed the night before. A leather folder was tucked beneath her arm. Olivia straightened in her chair, her chest tightening. "Olivia?" Layla began coolly, setting the folder on the table. "I want to make this easier for you. No drawn-out drama. No legal mess. Just facts." Olivia's eyes narrowed. "Facts? The fact is, you walked into my home after my husband's funeral and tried to stake a claim that doesn't belong to you." Layla didn't flinch. Instead, she opened the folder and slid a stack of crisp papers across the table. Olivia hesitated, her fingers trembling as she pulled them closer. At the top of the page, she saw the bold heading, "Property Deed of Title." Her breath caught. There, in black ink, was Jordan's signature. And beside it, Layla's name printed neatly as co-owner. "No," Olivia whispered, scanning the lines again and again as though repetition might rewrite reality. "This isn't real. Jordan would never do this to me." But the seal was there. The stamp was there. Every mark of legitimacy screamed at her. Layla's gaze softened only slightly. though her tone remained measured. "I know this is hard for you to accept, but Jordan made arrangements you didn't know about. He trusted me with this house. He made sure it wouldn't just fall into your hands." Olivia's head snapped up, fury piercing through her grief. "Fall into my hands? I was his wife, Layla. His wife. Do you even hear yourself? He promised me this home would always be ours, that we'd raise a family here, that this would be forever. And now you're telling me he handed it over to you?" Layla's silence was worse than denial. It felt like confirmation. Olivia shoved the papers back across the table, her chest heaving, her thoughts spun in circles, questions clawing at her heart. Had Jordan hidden this from her? Had their marriage been built on lies? She rose from her chair, her voice breaking between anger and sorrow. "You don't get to rewrite my husband's legacy, Layla. Not in this house. Not while I'm still standing." Layla leaned back, folding her arms. Her expression was unreadable, almost pitying. "Believe what you want, but the truth is on my side. And sooner or later, you'll have to face it." The silence that followed was suffocating. Olivia turned away, her eyes burning with tears she refused to let fall. For the first time, doubt began to creep into her heart. What if Layla wasn't lying? What if Jordan had indeed kept something from her? Something far darker than she was ready to face. The house had grown colder since Layla's revelation, as if Jordan's memory itself recoiled from the paper she had placed on the table. Olivia spent most of the afternoon pacing the living room, unable to silence the storm raging inside her. Grief, betrayal, and disbelief twisted together until she could no longer tell where one ended and the other began. Family and friends continued drifting in and out, offering condolences and meals she barely touched. Among them was Grace James, steady and compassionate as always. Grace had been there for Olivia through every milestone. Her wedding to Jordan, the birth of his nieces and nephews, and now his funeral. But when Grace pulled Olivia aside that evening, her expression carried a weight that felt different. "Liv," Grace whispered, glancing around to make sure they were alone. She guided Olivia into the quiet of the den, shutting the door softly behind them. "There's something I need to tell you. Something Billy told me before he died." Olivia's breath hitched at the mention of her late father-in-law. "Billy?" she asked, her voice hoarse from hours of silent tears. What could he have possibly said that matters now? Grace clasped Olivia's hands tightly, her eyes full of worry. "It's about this house." Olivia stiffened. That word, house, was enough to send a chill through her veins. "Go on," she pressed, her voice trembling. Grace leaned closer, her tone barely above a whisper, as though the walls themselves were listening. "Billy once told me, if the truth about this house comes out, the whole family burns." Olivia froze, her mind reeling. She pulled back, shaking her head in disbelief. "What does that even mean? Burn? Grace, this is my home, my marriage, my memories. How could a house destroy a family?" "I don't know all the details," Grace admitted, her voice strained. "But I know Billy was terrified. He carried the weight of secrets. Things about boosters, money, property deals. And this house, it wasn't just a home. It was part of it." Olivia's chest tightened as her thoughts raced. Was this why Layla had shown up so boldly? Was this why Jordan's name had been tied to Layla's on the deed? Tears pricked her eyes, but this time they weren't just from grief, they were from fear. What had Jordan known? What had he hidden? Grace squeezed her hands again, her voice firm. "Listen to me, Liv. Don't trust anyone right now. Not Layla, not the paperwork, not even the memories you think are safe. If Billy was right, the truth could ruin more than your marriage. It could unravel everything the Bakers built." Olivia's breath caught as a realization struck her like a punch in the gut. Her fight for the house wasn't just about love or belonging. It was about survival, and uncovering a secret buried so deep, it could scorch everyone she loved. And for the first time since Jordan's death, Olivia felt something stronger than despair, the pull of a mystery that demanded to be solved. The Baker home had never felt so divided. Olivia sat in the living room, her body tense as Layla moved about the house like she owned it, her heels tapping against the hardwood floor with sharp authority. Every sound grated on Olivia's nerves, but she held her tongue, Grace's whispered warnings still echoing in her mind. If the truth about this house comes out, the whole family burns. Spencer James stopped by later that evening carrying a bag of takeout Olivia hadn't asked for but appreciated. He set it down on the coffee table, his warm eyes soft with concern. "You holding up?" he asked gently. Olivia tried to smile, but the weight of her grief and the tension with Layla made it impossible. "I don't know how to answer that," she admitted. "It feels like Jordan's barely gone. And already the ground under me is disappearing too." Spencer nodded, sinking into the chair across from her. He didn't push. He just sat, his quiet presence offering comfort, but as his gaze drifted around the room, something seemed to catch his attention. "Olivia," he said slowly, pointing toward Jordan's office door. "Have you been in there since?" He didn't finish the sentence, but his meaning was clear. Olivia shook her head. "I can't. Every time I even look at that room, I hear his voice. I smell his cologne. It's like he's still in there, and I can't." Her voice broke. Spencer stood, his expression firm yet respectful. "Then let me go, just to check. You don't have to come with me." She hesitated, but finally nodded. The keys in the drawer by the lamp. Spencer retrieved it and slipped into the office. The moment he opened the door, the air seemed heavier. The blinds were still half shut. Jordan's chair slightly turned like he'd just left for a moment and would return any second. But it was the silence, the eerie, suffocating silence that pressed against Spencer's chest. As he searched the desk drawers, Spencer's hand brushed against something unusual, a metal panel hidden beneath stacks of folders. He tugged at it, and with a faint click, the panel gave way to reveal a small safe. His heartbeat quickened. He tried the code Jordan used for almost everything, his jersey number. Nothing. Then he tried Olivia's birthday. Still nothing. Finally, with a deep breath, he tried his own number. 11. The lock clicked open. Inside lay a single key and a folded note. Spencer picked it up carefully, recognizing Jordan's handwriting instantly. "Protect Liv. The answers are in the house." Spencer's throat tightened. He could hear Jordan's voice in his head as he read the words. This wasn't paranoia. This wasn't just grief-twisting things. Jordan had known something. Something that tied everything back to this house. When he returned to the living room, Olivia's eyes immediately went to the paper in his hand. "What did you find?" she whispered. Spencer swallowed hard, his voice low. "Liv, Jordan left you a message, and whatever it is, it starts here, in this house." The room felt colder, heavier. Olivia clutched the note, her pulse racing. Somewhere inside these walls was the truth Jordan had died with, and now it was up to her to uncover it. The following morning, Olivia sat at the dining table with Jordan's note lying open before her. She had read it so many times that the words burned into her mind. "Protect Liv. The answers are in the house." Each syllable was like a lifeline and a riddle. Laura Baker arrived mid-morning, her presence as commanding as ever, though grief had softened her edges. She hugged Olivia tightly, then noticed the strain etched into her daughter-in-law's face. "What happened?" Laura asked, her sharp eyes sweeping across the room, as if she could sense the storm hanging in the air. Olivia hesitated, unsure how much to reveal, but the words spilled out anyway. "Layla says the house belongs to her. She has papers, Laura. Legal ones. Jordan's name is on them." Laura froze, her lips parting in disbelief. "That's impossible. Jordan would never." She stopped herself, shaking her head. "Unless..." Her pause made Olivia's chest tighten. "Unless..." "What?" Laura's gaze drifted toward the hallway, toward Jordan's office where Spencer had found the safe. "I shouldn't even be saying this, but a few months ago Jordan mentioned drafting a new will. He said he wanted everything updated, just in case. He was worried about protecting you. Olivia's eyes widened. A new will? Then where is it? Why hasn't it shown up in court? Laura exhaled, troubled. That's the question, isn't it? It should have gone through probate automatically if it existed, which means one of two things. Either Jordan never finalized it, or her voice dropped. Or someone made sure it disappeared. The implications struck Olivia like a slap. You think someone destroyed it? Laura didn't answer immediately. She paced the room, her heels clicking softly against the floor. All I know is Jordan was careful. He wouldn't leave things unfinished. Especially not where you were concerned. If there was a will, someone had a reason to keep it from surfacing. The room seemed to tilt. Olivia gripped the edge of the table, her stomach in knots. Was it Layla? Did she forge her way into the deed while burying Jordan's real wishes? Laura finally sat beside her, lowering her voice to a near whisper. Liv, listen to me. If that will existed, it holds the truth about what Jordan wanted for you. And if it's missing, that's no accident. Someone wanted it gone. Olivia's pulse raced, her thoughts spiraling. First the forged deed, now a missing will. Every revelation dragged her deeper into a labyrinth of lies Jordan had never warned her about. She looked at Laura, her voice raw but steady. Then we find it. Whatever it takes, we find it. Laura's hand covered hers, a mixture of fear and pride flickering in her eyes. Just be careful. Because if Jordan's will vanished, whoever made it disappear won't let you uncover it without a fight. Olivia swallowed hard, determination burning beneath her grief. She had already lost her husband. She refused to lose his legacy, too. The sun was dipping low behind the Baker estate, painting the sky with streaks of crimson, but the beauty of the evening did nothing to ease the tension in the house. Olivia was in the kitchen, mechanically unpacking groceries she hadn't needed, when she noticed Coop lingering near the doorway, his brows drawn together. He looked uneasy, as though he had stumbled into something he wasn't supposed to see. Coop? Olivia asked gently. What's wrong? Coop hesitated, his eyes darting toward Layla, who was upstairs, apparently engrossed in phone calls and business matters. I think I overheard something, he said finally, his voice low, cautious. Something about Layla. Olivia froze, every muscle in her body alert. What do you mean? Coop swallowed hard. I was passing by the study, and I heard her on the phone. She mentioned using the house as collateral to settle debts. His voice dropped even lower, almost a whisper. Debts left behind by her father's music business? Shady deals, Olivia. She said she never wanted the home, just its value. She's playing a game, and we're all in it. Olivia felt her stomach twist. The image of Layla's poised, polished demeanor suddenly morphed into something far more calculating and dangerous. She had assumed Layla's claim to the house was personal, maybe even spiteful, but this was manipulation on an entirely different level. Coop's words echoed in her mind, bringing with them 1,000 questions. Was Jordan's death involved somehow? Had Layla always planned this? And why would she risk everything for money tied to her father's past? Olivia's thoughts were interrupted by the faint sound of a phone hanging up upstairs. She knew it was Layla. Something in her posture, so calm, so deliberate, suggested she was aware of the tension she had sown. Olivia clenched her fists, anger and fear coiling tightly in her chest. Coop, she said quietly but with steel in her voice. We need to be smart. If she's using the house as leverage for her father's deals, that means she isn't just threatening me. She's dragging all of us into it. We need proof, not accusations. Coop nodded, his jaw tight. I'll keep watching. I think she's hiding more than just a deed. There's something bigger, and I don't think she's finished. Olivia's mind raced. Every memory of Jordan, every promise he had made about this home. now seemed fragile, vulnerable to Layla's hidden agenda. The betrayal cut deeper than the missing will or the forged deed. It was the knowledge that someone she had trusted, someone tied to the family she loved, was orchestrating a plan that could ruin everything. She pressed her palm to the table, drawing strength from it as if the solid oak could anchor her. "Then we uncover it," she said firmly. "No matter what it takes, no matter who's involved, we find the truth. Layla might think she's untouchable, but this house is more than money. It's Jordan. And I won't let her take him away from me, too." A chill passed over Olivia as she looked toward the stairs where Layla's shadow lingered. The war for the house, and the secrets it held, was only just beginning. The house felt colder than usual that evening. Olivia wandered through the hallways, her hands trailing over the walls as if they could guide her through the fog of grief and betrayal. Layla's presence upstairs loomed like a shadow, even though Olivia hadn't seen her in hours. The air itself seemed heavy with secrets, and each creak of the floorboards sent a shiver down her spine. She returned to Jordan's office, drawn again to the desk where Spencer had found the small safe. Her eyes fell on the jacket draped over the back of his chair. Something about it caught her attention, a subtle bulge in the pocket, almost hidden. Hard hammering, Olivia slipped her hand inside and felt the hard edges of a flash drive. Her breath caught. She held it carefully, as though it were fragile enough to break in her fingers. The drive could hold answers, or more heartbreak. She hurried back to the living room, ignoring the tight knot forming in her chest. Plugging the drive into the laptop, she hesitated. A single click, and the screen flickered to life. There he was, Jordan, pale and trembling, looking straight into the camera. Olivia's chest tightened as tears welled in her eyes. She hadn't expected this. "Olivia," Jordan's voice was weak, almost a whisper. "If you're watching this, then something has gone wrong, and I'm gone. They said it was an accident, but it wasn't. I don't have much time, so I need you to listen carefully." Her fingers tightened on the edge of the desk, knuckles white. "Jordan," she whispered to the empty room, wishing she could reach him, wishing this weren't just a recording. He continued, eyes filled with a mix of fear and urgency. "The house, it's not just property, it's tied to everything I wanted to protect you from. Billy, his past, the trusts, the deals, the boosters, it's all in here. If Layla or anyone else gets access, it won't just be our home they take. They'll take everything we built, everything we believed in. You have to find the truth. Protect yourself, protect the house, protect our family." Olivia felt a chill pass over her, her hands trembling. Each word cut deeper than any betrayal Layla had thrown at her. This wasn't just about greed. This was about danger, legacy, and the secrets Jordan had carried alone. Tears streamed down her face, but alongside them came a surge of determination. Jordan had trusted her with this message. He had believed in her. And now, it was her responsibility to act. She pressed pause on the video, taking a deep, shaky breath. Her grief hadn't lessened, but her purpose had sharpened into a blade. Whoever thought they could take this house, whoever had hidden the will, whoever had tried to manipulate her, Olivia would stop them. For the first time since Jordan's death, fear and sorrow were replaced by resolve. The house was more than walls and memories. It was a key, a shield, a puzzle, and Olivia Baker was going to uncover every last piece. The house felt smaller, suffocating even, as Olivia paced the living room. The words from Jordan's video haunted her. Protect the house. Protect our family. Every shadow seemed to hide a secret. Every familiar corner, a potential betrayal. She had spent the entire morning replaying the video, searching for hidden clues, but the one person she never suspected until now was sitting quietly on the sofa, Dylan James. He had been unusually quiet since the funeral, avoiding her gaze and fidgeting with his hands whenever she entered the room. Olivia's chest tightened as realization dawned. She needed answers. "Dylan," she said, her voice low but firm, "we need to talk." He looked up, startled, his eyes wide with a mixture of fear and shame. "Oh, okay," he stammered, standing awkwardly. Olivia crossed her arms, her grief and anger coiling tightly inside her. "I need to know the truth. Did you help Layla access Jordan's trust account?" Dylan flinched at the accusation, his mouth opening and closing like he was searching for words. Finally, he exhaled sharply. "Yes," he admitted, voice barely above a whisper. "I didn't know it was wrong. I thought I was helping the family, protecting everyone. Layla told me she needed it to pay off debts, and I didn't realize how deep this went." Olivia's chest tightened and her hands trembled. "You handed her the weapon to take my home, Dylan. Do you have any idea what that means? Do you know what this could do to me, to all of us?" He swallowed hard, guilt etched into every line of his face. "I thought I was protecting us. I didn't think." "You didn't think?" Olivia's voice cracked, anger and heartbreak merging. "You didn't think about Jordan? About me? About the family? You helped her while our husband and brother-in-law, while he's gone." Tears blurred her vision. Dylan's admission hit her like a tidal wave. It wasn't Layla alone. The betrayal had crept in from within the family. Someone she trusted, someone she called family, had aided the very person who had tried to destroy everything she and Jordan had built. Dylan stepped closer, desperation in his eyes. "Liv, I'm sorry. I swear I didn't know she would go this far. I thought I was doing the right thing. Please, you have to believe me." Olivia shook her head, her voice barely audible. "I don't know if I can. I trusted you, Dylan. I trusted all of you. And now, I don't even know who to trust anymore." The weight of his betrayal pressed down on her like a physical force. Jordan's warnings, the missing will, Layla's schemes. It all felt like a storm converging on her alone. But beneath the shock, beneath the grief, a spark of determination ignited. If Dylan could be swayed, if family could be turned from betrayal to truth, Olivia might still have a chance to protect the house and uncover the secrets Jordan had died trying to shield. Her lips pressed into a hard line. "Then you better start fixing this, Dylan, because whatever happens next, we cannot fail. Not now, not ever." The room fell into tense silence. Dylan nodded slowly, understanding the weight of what had just been revealed. The battle for the house, and for the Baker legacy, was far from over. The afternoon sun slanted through the windows, casting long shadows across the living room as Olivia sat with Dylan and Spencer, papers spread across the coffee table like a battlefield. Every document they had uncovered, bank statements, letters, property records, seemed to whisper secrets long buried, secrets Jordan had died trying to protect. Olivia's hands shook as she held a faded ledger she had found hidden in a loose panel behind the fireplace. The edges were yellowed, the ink smudged in places, but the contents were unmistakable. Names, numbers, and transactions spanned decades. This is Billy Baker's trust?" Olivia asked, her voice tight with disbelief. Spencer nodded, his expression grim. "It wasn't just any trust, Liv. Look at this. These documents show funds from booster contributions being funneled into real estate, into properties no one knew existed. And this house? It's central to the whole operation." Dylan leaned forward, his jaw tight. "So that's why Layla was so desperate for it. It's not just a home. She's trying to get control of assets tied to Billy's shady past." Olivia ran her fingers over the pages, tracing the lines, as though doing so could reveal some hidden truth. She felt a cold pit open in her stomach. Jordan must have known. He must have realized that once he was gone, people would come for this, come for everything. That's why he left the note, the video, everything. Spencer's eyes met hers, serious and steady. "Exactly. And we have to understand the scale of it before anyone else does. Billy's trust wasn't just legal maneuvering, it's built on decades of secrets, some of them illegal, some of them dangerous. Olivia felt the weight of it all pressed down on her. Her husband's death, Layla's deception, Dylan's mistake, they all seemed tiny in comparison to what she held in her hands. This wasn't just about inheritance. It was about power, corruption, and a family legacy that could crumble if exposed. Dylan pointed to a line in the ledger that caught his attention. "Look here, money from boosters redirected into accounts under shell corporations. And this property, this house, is listed as collateral for a loan none of us ever knew existed." Olivia's heart sank. Collateral? That explains why Layla was trying to leverage it. She's been playing a game that goes back decades, and we've been caught in it without even realizing. Spencer placed a reassuring hand on her shoulder. "We'll figure it out." Jordan left us the clues. "It's messy and it's dangerous, but we have the advantage. We know the stakes and we know the players." Olivia swallowed hard, a mixture of fear and determination rising in her chest. The house wasn't just walls and memories anymore. It was a key to uncovering decades of corruption, a puzzle Jordan had hoped she could solve. And now, with every piece of the past laid bare, she understood the full weight of the battle ahead. Her fists clenched. She would protect this house. She would honor Jordan's legacy. And she would expose the truth, no matter who tried to stop her. The courtroom was tense, the kind of silence that presses against your ears and makes every breath feel loud. Olivia sat at the plaintiff's table, hands clenched, knuckles white. Her heart pounded with a mixture of anger, grief, and determination. Months of secrets, betrayals, and discoveries had led her here. Today, she would finally confront Layla Keating and the twisted claims that had threatened to steal everything from her. Layla entered, poised and confident as ever, a carefully curated expression of calm masking the storm she knew she had stirred. Olivia's eyes locked on hers, and for a fleeting moment, she saw through the veneer glimpses of greed, calculation, and fear. The judge called the courtroom to order, and the proceedings began. Layla's attorney presented the deed, polished and seemingly legitimate, as proof that the house was rightfully hers. Olivia's stomach twisted, but she didn't flinch. When it was her turn, she rose, carrying the weight of every secret Jordan had left behind, every revelation Dylan and Spencer had unearthed. "Your Honor," she began, her voice steady despite the storm raging inside her, "these documents do not reflect the truth. They were forged, and the real will of Jordan Baker." Her hand lifted to reveal the original, long-lost will, retrieved from a hidden safe Spencer had helped her locate. Leaves the house not to Miss Keating, but to the person Jordan trusted to protect his family. Gasps rippled through the courtroom. Layla's composure faltered, her fingers tightening around her notes. The judge leaned forward, scrutinizing the will. Olivia's heart beat wildly. Every long, tense moment seemed to stretch into eternity. And then the judge spoke. "This will is valid and its authenticity is confirmed." However, his gaze swept the courtroom, landing squarely on Olivia. "The house as designated in the original will is left entirely to Spencer James." The words struck Olivia like a hammer. Her hands flew to her mouth and, for a second, disbelief left her frozen. She looked at Spencer, whose own shock mirrored hers, yet beneath it, a flicker of determination glimmered in his eyes. Layla's face drained of color. Her perfect mask cracked. She had expected Olivia to claim the house, but this twist, this final, devastating revelation, upended everything. Olivia drew in a deep breath, tears threatening but her resolve unwavering. The house she had fought to protect, the legacy she had pledged to honor, had been entrusted to someone Jordan knew could handle it. Not Layla, not the manipulations, not the decades of secrets and lies. As the judge banged his gavel, the room erupted into murmurs. Olivia felt a strange mix of relief, grief, and triumph. Jordan's wishes had been honored, his trust preserved, and the web of deceit Layla had spun unraveled before her eyes. Though she hadn't won the house herself, Olivia knew the fight had never been about possession alone. It had been about uncovering the truth, protecting her family, and honoring the man she had loved more than life itself. Outside the courtroom, the sunlight felt warmer, sharper, freer. Olivia exhaled deeply, letting the weight of months of fear and grief fall away. The battle was over, but the story, the legacy, and the secrets would linger, shaping the Baker family for generations to come.